guys, welcome again to the Maths Club. If you are just joining us, you're welcome. For some time, we've been looking at modular arithmetic, right? We started with an introduction to modular arithmetic, talked about a bit of the application, right? And we introduced ourselves to congruence. In the previous video, we discussed what congruence is and how we denote it, right? So if you did not see that video, you might want to check the video that will appear at the top right. Today, we'll just be talking about questions that can really come out from congruence, right? So let's see. The first question is saying that express minus 32 in mode 9, right? So we want to express minus 32 in something that will look like B, what we have here, like B mode 9, right? Just like here, we said we express 15 in mode 12. How do we do that? We said 15 divided by 12, that gave us 1, right? With a remainder of 3. So it's the remainder portion that we're interested in. So we said 15 is congruent to 3 mode 12 because the remainder in that case was 3. So now the same thing too, we want to do this one, right? But it is minus 32, it's a minus value, right? And in mode 9. So let's see, let's solve it. So minus 32 in mode 9, right? In mode 9, I want to express it, right? So how can we express it? So if you look at it, what is the multiple of 9 that is greater than 32? So I'm not even looking at the minus part. So what is the multiple of 9 that's greater than 32? We know that that will be 9 times what? 9 times 4, right? And that is 36, right? 36. So another way of expressing this minus 32, look at something. So if I borrow 36 naira, which is minus 36, right? And I pay 4 naira up to the person, right? How much do I hold the person now? I hold 36 naira. And I paid 4 naira. How much do I hold the person now? So I owe the person what? Minus 32, right? I hold the person 32 naira. So that means that minus 36 plus 4 is also another way of representing what? Minus 32. So if that is the case, that means I can represent this by minus 32, right? To be what? Minus 36 plus 4. Is that not it? So I can replace this and say minus 32 is equal to minus 36 plus 4, right? And remember, in the previous video, when we're doing the modular arithmetic, whatever is in the plus side here is the remainder, right? So I could say minus 32, right, is congruent to the remainder, which is 4 what? 4 in mode what? In mode 9, right? So what did we do? Whenever you want to express, so whenever you have a negative value, right, in a mode, you can express it to the positive value, right? Just take a value that is greater than a positive value that is greater than the negative value, in this case, and is a multiple of 9, right? Or in the multiple of the mode you're working in, right? In this case here, we had minus 32, right? Our mode was 9, so we looked for a multiple of 9 that was greater than 32, which was 36. So we just added, just basic addition, right, to ensure that we go back our minus 32 back, right? So whatever you add, right, to that multiple of the mode, right, will be your remainder. So minus 32 is also the same thing as saying what? 4 mode 9, right? 4 mode 9. And that's it about that particular question. So look at the answer. The answer is what? 4 mode 9. Don't worry, by the time you keep on solving, you'll see all of these things in practice. Now look at this question. So it says if 2x is equal to 1, so sometimes you might see triple equal to, sometimes you might see double equal to, right? Don't be carried away. So if 2x is equal to 1 with 7, what is the value of x? Let's go. So if 2x is equal to 1 mod 9, mod 7, right? What is the value of x? How can we solve this? I will have said I should divide, right? If I divide both sides by 2, I'll be having a fraction here. Is that what I want? No, right? Another way I can look at it is that, what is that multiple of 2? Right? Remember, this value 1 comes when I divide it by this 7. Remember, in our clock, we had 15, right? We had 15 hour in that previous example in our last video, right? And we said the modulus there was 12, right? Then by the time we divided 15 by 12, we had 1 with a remainder of 3. So 15 was now equal to 3 mod 12, Abby? Mod 12, right? So it's the same thing. So what would be that multiple of 2, right? That by the time I divide it by 7 would give me a remainder of 1. Let me take a think. What is that multiple of 2? Because it's 2x. What is the multiple of 2? That when I divide by 7 would give me a remainder of 1. Let's look at it. So 2 times 1 is what? 2 times 1 is 2, right? Times 2 is what? 4, right? Times 3 is what? 6, right? If I do 6 divided by 7, it will be 0 remainder 6, right? If I do 2 divided by 7, it will be 0 remainder 2. So I've not gotten the value that will give me 1. If I do times 4, right, that will give me what? 8. If I do 8 divided by 7, that will be 1 with a remainder of what? With a remainder of 1. So have I gotten the value that I need? Yes, I have, right? So 2x that I've been looking for, the multiple of x that I'm looking for, that if I divide it by 7 will give me a remainder of 1, is actually 4, right? So therefore, my x is equal to 4, right? I say 4 mod 7, right? So that's it. Just look for the multiple of 2, right? That by the time you divide by the mode will give you this value 1. And in that case, that was 4. So let's look at it. Yeah, great. So we got that right. Let's look at this next example. So it says, if 3x is equal to 4 mod 5, what is the least value of x? You want to pause the video and try this out yourself. Welcome back, right? So if I want to explain it in simple terms, I'll be saying that what is the least, this is a list. What is the least multiple of 3, right? That if I divide by 5, it will give me a remainder of what? Of 4. That is the way to actually look at it. What is the least multiple of 3? If I divide by 5, it will give me a remainder of 4. So let's see. I'm sure you already know it. Right, so we add 3x is equal to 4 mod 5. Right, if you look at it, 3 times 1, right, is 3, right? 3 times 2 is 6. Would that give me the remainder of 4 if I divide by 5? No, right? So 3 times 3 is what? Is 9. 9 divided by 5 is 1 with a remainder of what? The remainder of 4. That means that this is actually the space that I'm interested in, right? That means my x will be this value here, which is what? 3. So therefore, x is equal to 3 mod 5, right? So let's see if our answer is correct. Great. So if you got it right, I mean, it shows that you've gained a little bit of understanding into what we're doing, right? Let's look at another example. So if 4x is equal to 6, right, mod 5, right, find the value of x. So another way that you can do is that if you have a value here, this 6, if you have a value here that is greater than the mode, you can further reduce it. Hope you know. So you can further reduce it. That by the time you'll be working with, look at it. Which one is better? So if you look at it, I'll be saying, what is the multiple of 4? That if I divide by 5 will give me a remainder of 6, right? That's the gap is already very large, right? I can reduce this 6 further, right? And saying, so if I divide 6 by 5, what would that give me? That will give me 6 divided by 5, right? That will give me 1 with the remainder of 1, right? So this 6 mod 5, I can also write it and say 4x is equal to the remainder when I divide it by 5, which is what? 1 mod 5, right? So there's no, you can further reduce, right? You can further reduce the right hand side depending on how you want to work. I prefer to reduce, right? It just makes it very simple. So which one do you think is better? Finding the multiple of 4 that if I divide by 5 will give me a remainder of 6, or find the multiple of 4 that if I divide by 5 will give me a remainder of 1. I think the second one is actually better, right? So let's see. 4 times 1, right, is 4, right? So if I divide this by 5, it's not going to give me 1. 4 times 2, right, is 8. If I divide this by 5, it's not going to give me 1, it's going to give me 3, right? So if 4 times 3, right, 4 times 3 is 12, right? So 4 times 4, right, is 16. If I divide 16 by 5, that will give me 3, right, with the remainder of what? 5 times 3 is 15, so that will be a remainder of 1, right? And that matches what I'm looking for, right? If I found the one that gave me 6 early on, I'll have like picked that value. But now we have our value, that's the value of x that if I multiply by 4 and divide by 5, that will give me a remainder of 1 is what? Is 4, right? So therefore, x is equal to 4 mod 5. Forgot to add that. 4 mod 5. Let's see if our value is correct. Yeah, our value is actually correct, right? So that's it. Now let's solve some other examples. We'll solve some more examples just to consolidate what we've done. So it said if 7 plus y is equal to 4 mod 8, right? I can't reduce this 4 here because it's less than the 8, but so it's greater than the 8, I could still reduce it further, right? So if 7 plus y is equal to 4 mod 8, find the least value of y, right? And y should be in the range 10 and what? And 30. That's good. So let's see, let's solve it. So we have 7 plus y, right, is equal to 4 mod 8, right? And we're told that y is between, so this is less than or equal to, right? So y is between 10 and 30, right? 10 and 30 are inclusive because of this equal to under, right? So it's from number 10 to number 30 because they are equal to under the less than. So let's try to, before we even do it, let's call it like terms, right? So y will be equal to what? 4, if I carry this on to the other side, right, that will be 4 minus 7, right, in mod 8, right? So y will be equal to what? Minus 3, right? You are owing somebody 7 naira and you pay the person 4 naira out of it. So I'm owing the person 3 naira now. So mod 8, right? Great. So what is the multiple of 8? Right? I want to have minus 3. I told you whenever you have a minus value, try to put it in a positive value. Right? Try to put it in a positive value. So y would now be equal to, what is the multiple of 8 that's, if I add something, right, I'll be able to get minus 3 back. I mean, we can just do it very simple. We could say minus 8, Abby? Minus 8 plus 5, right? 5 mod 8. Right? So y is equal to 5, which is the remainder part. So remember what we did in that previous value. But now, is 5 within this range? No, 5 is not within this range, right? So 5 doesn't work, right? So I'll move further to another multiple of 8, right? Another multiple of 8 will be 16, right? So minus 16, right? So minus 16 plus what? Plus what will give me, so this one did not work, right? This is the first case. This first case did not work. I used 8, right? Now I'm moving further, right, to minus 16. The next multiple of 8 is minus 16. So minus 16 plus what will give me this minus 3? Minus 16 plus what? So you're owing somebody 16 naira, right? And you want to pay your debt so that it will remain only 3 naira, right? That means you're going to pay the person 13 naira, right? So y here would be equal to what? The remainder part, 13 mod 8, right? Is 13 between 10 and 30? Yes, 13 is between 10 and 30. So therefore, my y is equal to 13 mod 8, right? So that's it, right? So remember, this particular minus 3 is taken from the first example that we did, right? It's just a modification of the first example that we did, right? Just look for multiples of 8, right? That if you add something to it, it will give you back your original value, or original negative value, right? If you're able to find that value, and it meets any other condition. Yeah, I found the value to be 5, but it was not within this range, so I could not use 5, right? So I had to go to the next multiple of 8, which is 16. I said minus 16 plus 13, right? When I did that, the remainder is going to be 13, and that is within this range, right? So that is the what? That's the least value, right, of y, right, within that particular range. So let's see. So the answer is what? 13. Great. So this next question is 2x plus 6 is equal to 1 mod 7. What's the value of x? So I would advise that you pause the video and try it out yourself. Welcome back, right? Let's see. Let's solve it together. So if 2x plus 6 is equal to 1 mod 7. Right, so what's the value of x? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to collect like terms. So let me just say 2x is equal to 1 minus 6, right? So 2x, 1 minus 6 is minus 5, right? You're owing somebody 6 naira and you pay the person 1 naira. So you're owing the person 5 naira now. So how can I be able to take this minus 7, I'll be minus 5, right? From a negative value, right, to a positive value in this mode. Let's see the things that can give us minus 5 in the, that will be a multiple of 7. So that would be the first thing that we'll talk about would be so minus 5 could be equal to, which starts from the 7 times 1, which is 7. So that will be minus 7 plus 2, right? So minus 7 plus 2, so that means minus 5, right, is equal to, which is the remainder here, so 2 mod 7, right? So if I replace this minus 5 with 2, so you can see that I can divide both sides by 2 and to make my work easy. If I could not divide both sides by the 2, I will still check for the next value, right? Like I get something that will easily divide. So since I can easily divide, I'll just replace this minus 5 mod 7 with 2 mod 7. So that will be 2x is equal to 2 mod 7 when I replace, right? If I divide both sides by 2, right, 2 will cancel 2, 2 will cancel 2, that will give me 1. So therefore, my x is equal to 1 mod 7. So that's it. Let's see if the answer is correct. 1 mod 7. Great. So that's it. Let's see this last question. I also encourage you that you actually pause the video and try it out yourself. Welcome back, right? So we have 3x is equal to 5 mod 5, right? The 5 here is the same mode, so I can reduce it further, right? I can always reduce when it's equal to the mode or is greater than the mode, so I can reduce this further. Let me reduce this further. And you might actually be surprised with the solution. So 3x is equal to 5, right? 5 mod 5. Whenever I deal with modulus, always ensure that I use this triple equal to. And whenever I solve this question, so for WAEC purposes, you have to be very, very explicit. So if you are dividing, you have to write dividing both sides by. If you are doing anything, make sure you write it in English first before you do it, right? That's how you actually get more marks, right? Assume that if the instructor does not understand anything, right? So let's see, 3x is equal to 5 mod 5. So I can reduce this 5. So 5 mod 5, right, is also equal to, so if I divide 5 by 5, what would that give me? That will give me 1, the remainder of 0, Abi? So the remainder is what counts. It's also equal to 0 mod 5, Abi? Great. So I can replace now, say 3x is equal to 0 mod 5, right? So what value of x will I multiply by 3 to give me 0? Of course. And the only value that if I multiply by another number that will give me 0 is what? If I divide both sides by 3, right? And now if I divide both sides by 3, right? This will cancel this, right? And 0 divided by 3 is 0. So therefore, my x is equal to 0, right? That's it for the congruence in modular arithmetic. Right? Just keep playing with the modulus and trying to see the remainder and just trying to make sure that it meets every condition in the particular question, right? So the next time that we're going to meet, we're going to look at addition in modulus, right? See you guys in the next video.